Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rebirth Summit 2026. I'm Philip Woolfolk, Managing Director of Main Street Advisory and Philip Speaks. Through Main Street Advisory, I facilitate funding for real estate investors and entrepreneurs. Through Philip Speaks, I'm a speaker, author, and coach where I provide engagements in the areas of financial literacy, homeownership, real estate investing, and self-empowerment, facilitating transformation from limiting beliefs to possibility thinking. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Carol Metz Murray. She is an extraordinarily walking others through radical transformation. Carol is as relentless about her clients' success as she is her own. She is a dynamic courage catalyst and a champion because she doesn't simply change lives, she expands them. Narrative storytelling and radical listening guide her to tune into and ignite her clients' voices, their creativity and their leadership. Carol lives the principles and natural laws uncovered and learned in her journey through leadership, high stress, self-doubt, and overwhelm to heart-centered creativity, authenticity, and love to lead in life. Lead your dreams. Carol says, imagine you are the star creator of your life. Your inside moxie feels ragged and colorless. Your golden halo is cracking. Your self-doubt blanket feels so heavy. Suddenly, your movie reel twists, then turns, exposing self-doubt. Now the journey begins from boxed to bold to dynamic. Are you ready to create a different casting? Thank you for being part of this conversation, Carol.
Well, thank you, Phil, for having me. I'm excited to be here with you and all of the audience and perhaps those listening later on. But this is really
Right.
great. So,
Thank you so much. So let us start by having the conversation about, what life was like before your transformation. Describe the situation emotionally, mentally, spiritually, kind of help us feel where you were at the beginning.
great question, Phil. Well, life for me was on some levels was really great, on other levels not so great. So I grew up on a farm, and at the age of 5, my dad said to me that I needed to learn about leadership, which I did with a herd of horses and a flock of turkeys. And that really set me on my track of leadership, going through elementary school, working on the farm. And yes, I was an active worker. I spent a lot of time with my dad. And so those aspects really ingrained in me service. But there was a dark side as well. I had been sexually abused by a neighbor, and no one would listen to me. No one heard what I was saying. And as that little girl, I closed part of my heart down. And that then it really impacted who I was. And I felt
Yeah.
then that I needed to prove to myself that I was somebody that I was worthy and, is to remove the guilt or at least hide it. And then because of that and having low self-esteem, I stepped into a violence-filled marriage.
Yeah.
I was building a successful career. I had my first leadership position at age 19. And that was amazing. And I just realized how service was part of me, service to others. But the violence-filled marriage also just was incredibly draining.
Oh, sure.
And
So what
yeah,
was the
yeah.
breaking point or turning point? Was there a major moment or situation that forced change? Share with us what happened.
Well, that major breaking point was I was living my dream. I had fled that violence-filled marriage, and I was also working on my master's, but I was working, in that dream job, 60 and more hours in a week, working on my master's
Right,
and not dealing with past experiences. And one day, while driving, and I was on a long drive, and I drove over 300 kilometers, totally disconnected from who I was. When I came out of that, I knew something was terribly, terribly wrong. So I
right.
called my doctor, and my doctor said if I didn't deal with that high stress that I had lived in my whole life, she'd
Hmm.
make me deal with it. That was my turning point. I knew I needed to change my life because if
Right.
I could have killed myself driving on a highway, totally disconnected. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. So what did transformation feel like? Take us into sort of your internal process. You were dealing with fears, breakthroughs, healing, your decisions, what helped you move forward?
Well, to begin with, Phil, I'm just going to say right out, to begin that process, it was scary
Yeah.
and it was unnerving. I attempted psychotherapy and my body just said, absolutely not. You
Hmm.
need something else. And so I went on a journey to find what else could it be to help me release the traumas and the just all of that pain that I held. And I found it through a variety of different ways of energy work. And that was amazing as I began to release uh, my traumas and all the different places that I was holding that in my body. And by the way, I had also survived to this point 6 motor vehicle accidents. So I had lots of different pain in different
Oh yeah.
places.
Hmm.
But as I began to release, and the more I released, the more I discovered who I was. And then there was a big question that came from God. And that one was focused on what had me step into that violence-filled marriage.
Right.
That, Phil, was it was like an explosion because then I really had to get into me and really look at who I was. And that
Right.
question really, in essence, it blew my heart wide open.
Hmm.
And once that happened, then the journey took on a different feel where I was able to then walk through the pain and let it go and realize
Right.
that trauma happens, we keep it in our body, we can release it, but there will always be snippets of it here, there, and
Oh
everywhere.
yeah.
But it
Yeah.
was a journey of really getting to know me. Who was
Oh
I?
sure.
Who am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who supported your journey? Were there people, faith, tools? Were there practices? Sounds like you went through some energy work. Share with us kind of what carried you through that time.
My courage carried me through. The people who really supported me were the um, different energy workers that I worked with because
Mm-hmm.
that really the energy work really worked on my body.
Yeah.
Um, Friends would look at me kind of sideways and say,
Mm.
what really is going on with you? Because
Right.
you're changing, but they didn't really understand. So
Right.
really it was the professionals who supported me. And the person that really supported me was me, because the more I
Right.
saw my transformation, the more I wanted it.
No, sure. So you encourage yourself and
Yes,
inspired yourself to move to the next
yes,
level.
yes.
So where are you now in your journey? Tell us a little bit about, how life's changed. What's different now?
Oh, well, what is different now is I am I am a much kinder, calmer person. And I have also discovered in that transformation that I have a side of humor that I had locked
Mhm.
away. And
Mhm.
really and truly, my transformation opened up my gift that I had tucked away, and that is professional speaking, because I had
Mhm.
started speaking at age 11, and
Okay.
I discovered that I love professional speaking because it's one way that I can make impact and change the world. But as
Right.
well, Phil, my journey led me to begin the Naked Leadership Institute. And the
Mhm.
qualifier there is that you get to keep your clothes on because naked leadership is an inside journey.
Thanks for explaining that.
Yes. And the other part of naked leadership is that I had a coach say to me, well, if you're going to launch this, you need a self-image adjustment. And it was like, what do you mean? But, but what I discovered as well is I needed to go in and open my heart even deeper and
Deeper.
deeper.
Okay.
And the more that I open my heart, the more that I can make shifts and for other people because of who I am being in the
Right.
very moment. And then people are um, they come to me and it's Carol, you're so kind. Carol, you're so calm. How come? Well, that really is who I am at the
Right.
essence of my being. That's the authentic me.
Awesome. So, how are you using this experience now to help others? Tell us a little bit about, your mission, the work you're doing today, and because of what you've gone through, share a little bit about that.
Well, my mission is to help successful women and men shift from um, serving others to really honoring themselves first, because you need to be able to lead yourself before you can lead others. And
Right.
so, in essence, it is to move them move them to be able to serve and not serve from fatigue, not serve from burnout, because I
Right.
understand burnout.
Oh,
And
sure.
yeah, and how I and what and how I do that through coaching,
Hmm.
one-on-one coaching, love that. And I also do it through co-creative um, consulting and
Hmm.
feel because of my history and understanding domestic violence. I've worked in the field of domestic violence for women and children. I am
Hmm.
now also working in the field of domestic violence for men and children because
Okay.
men as well as women need support. And if we're not serving men and we're not serving women, then we aren't serving children. And
Right.
really,
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
they count as well. So that for me was taking all of my pain and turning it into my passion.
Right. Excellent. So,
Yes.
what is your message for someone who may be stuck in the pain in the moment? If someone's listening who's where you used to be, what would you share with them?
If someone is stuck, what I share with them is that at this moment, they may be stuck. However, if they take one moment or 1 second and find courage, it's that insane moment of courage to begin to shift their story, begin to, thaw that frozen story that they're stuck in. They can move forward. I've seen it. I've seen the miracles with clients that I have worked with,
Awesome.
and they can rebuild, Phil. We all can.
Right. Oh,
Yes.
absolutely. So thank you, Carol. This has been a great conversation for me. Hearing your heart and your powerful story. You're certainly your journey certainly is a beacon of hope for others. This has been another incredible conversation on Rebirth TV. another story of unyielding courage. I'm Philip Woolfolk, and it's been an honor to host this interview as part of this global movement for healing and transformation. Stay tuned for more stories from courageous leaders and speakers from all over the world. Until next time, this is Rebirth TV signing off.